What's up, friends? Welcome in to another edition of Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com and ESPN Kansas City. My name is Daniel Courtwright. My co-host Sean Kellerman is not here with us. He'll be out all week, but guess what? We got a packed week for you guys. A lot of great stuff coming up this week. I had a chance to go out to the Good Games Meet the Team Tour on Saturday, and I got a bunch of exclusive one-on-one interviews with a number of different KU football players. A really cool event. Shout out to everybody who made it out there. It was a ton of fun at the indoor facility. It was definitely hot there at the indoor facility, but still a ton of fun. You saw all these kids running around doing all these different drills with all these different KU football players. A really exciting thing. I actually got a chance to talk to Corey Gordon, which we'll hear from actually later in this show. But, you know, I was talking about this because Brandon McAnderson was there, a colleague of ours, a good friend of the show, Brandon McAnderson. And I was telling Corey Gordon, I said, that guy over there, B-Mac, and actually got an interview with B-Mac. We're going to hear from him in the second segment. But I said, B-Mac to me is what you guys are to these little kids. So, and I think all of the football players understood that, and they were really involved with these kids, playing around with them, talking to them, you know, really interacting with these kids, understanding like this is such a cool experience for them. I think that kind of gets lost every once in a while, but not with these guys. They were all incredible. I got a ton of different great interviews with them. So we have a bunch of great stuff coming up this week for Rock Chalk Sports on Kansas Nation, just Kansas Nation in general, because we have that. I'm going to play all those interviews for you throughout this week. Probably going to go through them today and tomorrow. And then we have the TBT, not the TBT, the basketball tournament, the basketball tournament going on. That's going to be going on tomorrow. I'm going to be going out to Bramlage Coliseum. Also, there's a meet and greet at Morningstar Pizza at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Seems like a relatively quick turnaround. I guess it's 5 hours between, but all the guys are going to be out there. You can see all your KU basketball players of old, Mario Chalmers, and the whole team is supposed to be out there at Morningstar Pizza. Go out there, get some pictures, autographs, whatever that may be. So it's going to be a ton of fun. So get out to Morningstar Pizza, and then right afterwards, drive on out west to Manhattan. Just go west until you smell it, and then go north until you step in it, because that's how you find your way to Manhattan. Because KU, they're JHX, Jayhawks Hoops, are going to be taking on Purple Rain in the first game of the basketball tournament. Second game is going to be on Wednesday out at Lee Arena, the home court, quote-unquote, for Jayhawks Hoops. Should be a ton of fun, so I'll be covering that. Me alongside Jimmy Kaufman's going to be out there from Sports Radio 810 WHB. Pat Strothman's actually going to be calling the games on the radio, and we're actually going to be streaming the games live on KansasNation.com. That's going to be so much fun, so be sure to go to KansasNation.com. Whenever those games are going on, you can watch those games live. If you don't have Fox Sports 1, you don't have access to be able to watch those games, you can see it on, it's audio only, but it'll be, you can still listen to those games on KansasNation.com. So that's going to be a ton of fun as well. So like I said, packed week for you. But got to get through today's show. We're talking World Cup soccer. Last cup check of the next 4 years. Man, I can't believe it's already come and gone. It was like, what was it? Probably over a month ago. 48 teams all gathered in North America, and it got whittled down to one. I'll break that down. The World Cup final was yesterday. Spain winds up beating Argentina 1-0, but a really electric game. Just an unbelievable performance by the goalkeeper for Argentina, and presumably the last World Cup you'll ever see Lionel Messi in, because the next one he's going to be 43. I doubt he plays in it. He hasn't made any official decisions quite yet, but we'll certainly see. So I'll break down the World Cup. Also talk a little Javon Bardwell. Some interesting news coming out from Michael Swain, 24/7 Sports. I'll break that down a little bit as well. In the second segment, like I said, we're going to be hearing from some KU football players, two current guys and then one former guy. I actually got to sit down with Brandon McAnderson for a little bit, because he had a kid actually at the Good Games Meet the Team Tour event over this past weekend. So talk to B-Mac out there at the KU indoor facility. Also going to talk to Yasin Willis, KU running back, transfer from Syracuse. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then I got to talk to Nik McMillan as well. He was out there tossing some balls with some kids. So a couple of offensive skill position players. Going to talk to them. Then, going to bring on a very special guest. It's Nicholas J. Springer. He's going to be coming in studio, going to be sitting at this desk because Sean is no longer here, at least for this week. He'll be back next week. So, always great talking to Nick from KCSN, Pay Heat Podcast. Always going to be a good time there. After that, Hour 2, it's going to be Case of the Mondays. Got a lot of good stuff. Got some soccer stuff in there. Got some golf stuff in there as well. Interesting storylines coming out of the U.S. Open. Shout out to Ryan Fox for winning it all. Also had an all-time low score in the first round. Sam Burns, I think was his name. Shot a 62. Still didn't wind up winning, which is absolutely insane to me. But Bryson DeChambeau, he's in DeChambeau's right now. Very kind of crazy story going on, and Rory chimed off on it afterwards. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, I got some World Cup stuff on there. I got a J.J. Watt story in there as well. After that, going to go back to the Good Games Meet the Team tour to talk to Calvin Clements. Obviously, Lawrence, local kid, going to be one of the stalwarts on the offensive line. He's got a great frame and really kind of going to be one of those guys you see get into that leadership role for this upcoming year for Kansas at the left tackle position. Got a chance, actually, Tyler Brewer, our intern, got a chance to talk to Calvin Clements a little bit about that. So we'll hear from Calvin Clements. Also talk to Nik Morrow, transferred over from Cal, another just massive human being, dyed his hair blonde. So I got to talk to him a little bit about that as well. Over at the right tackle position. And then Corey Gordon, one of my favorite interviews I think I've ever done with a player. I talked to him for probably 5 to 10 minutes before the interview even started, just chatting with him about how cool the event was, coming to Kansas, all this different kind of stuff. But got about a 5-minute interview with Corey Gordon. Again, just one of the best interviews that I think I've done, at least, in my time being in the KU media. He's a really great guy, and I'm really excited to see him. And then for the last segment of the show, going to be talking a little Chiefs football. We're going to continue our Chiefs opponent outlook. Going to be breaking down the Indianapolis Colts. Interesting stuff going on there over in Indy. They have the highest paid wide receiver of all time, Alec Pierce. It's going to be a problem this year. We'll certainly see, but that's going to be week 2. So, I'll break down the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, it's going to be a relatively tough game, but it's going to be early. I think Chiefs are going to be, looking to at least get to 2-0, if not 1-1 at that point. All right, let's go ahead and start off here with the last final cup check of the next 4 years until 2030, I'll say. Yeah, 2030. The next cup check that we'll have will be in 2030. This is the last cup check we're going to have for quite a while. Spain, they take down Argentina 1-0 in a all-time classic. If you look at the score, you're going to see it was 1-0, and it went all the way to, 120 minutes or whatever that was. This game was unbelievable. Spain, if you talk about tilting the field, they tilted this field upside down because it was just insane to me how much control Spain had of the ball the entire time. You look at possession, 65% of the possession was for Spain. And I think even before that, it had to have been higher. It had to have been in the 70s, maybe 75%. Spain had the ball virtually the entire time. I just want to break this down for you. Spain had 12 shots on goal, 4 big chances created, 3 big chances missed. They had 763 accurate passes compared to Argentina's 357 accurate passes. They had 20 shots. Argentina, they had 2 shots the entire game, 0 shots on goal, 0 big chances created. Only, like I said, 357 accurate passes. The most lopsided in terms of possession I've ever seen, and granted, I don't watch a lot of soccer. I'll watch the World Cup, and I'll watch KU women's soccer. Shout out to Nate Lee. But the way that the field was tilted by Spain, and this is what we had heard going into this. I had watched a little bit of some of the pregame and some of the different things leading up, people talking about Spain, Argentina. They said all Spain wants to do is just suffocate you, right? They're never going to allow you the chance to get the ball, and that's certainly what they did. But Argentina's goalkeeper, Martinez, Emiliano Martinez was standing on his head, had the most unbelievable single performance from a goalkeeper, I'm going to say maybe in World Cup history. Granted, he had Tim Howard, who had 16 saves against Belgium back in whatever that was, 2014, right? That was World Cup record for 16 saves. Emiliano Martinez, he had shots on goal attempts were 12. He had 11 saves in this game. I mean, just unbelievable stuff. Is save after save after save. They just kept on firing at him. He was catching balls, blocking them away. Spain just couldn't get it going, right? Like I said, they had 12 shots on goal. Only one of them went in, and the one that went in was at like the first 30 seconds of the second extra time. It was the most unbelievable thing. It was 0-0 heading into the second extra time. Argentina just managed to stay in this game. And you thought, okay, well, Argentina's going to pull this off because that's what they do, right? Whenever you think Argentina's down, they're going to come back and shock the world. You look at the Egypt game, right? You look at the game that they had against England. I mean, that's just what they do. But, I mean, just really impressive stuff by Fernan Torres. That was the guy who wound up shooting the goal in extra time. It was in the 106th minute. Also, didn't really help that Enzo Fernandez for Argentina got that red card. He got a yellow card early in the game, and then he absolutely destroyed an Argentinian player. The Argentinian player like flipped over like 3 times, and Enzo Fernandez was like, "What? I didn't do anything." This is in the 93rd minute. I mean, just like unbelievable stuff. Argentina was playing a little bit dirty, I think. They were pulling guys and slide tackling pretty hard, and there was a lot of not great stuff going on there with Argentina. This is super weird. I actually found myself rooting a little bit for Spain just because of the fact that Argentina was not playing very clean soccer. Right? They had 25 fouls committed. A lot of them were really hard. Enzo Fernandez was just kind of being a jerk out there. But Emiliano Martinez had an incredible performance at the goalie position. Like I said, 11 saves, just unbelievable. The World Cup final record, I think, was 8 saves, so he beat that by a long shot. And then Fernan Torres, I mean, just fired one in the back of the goal, 106th minute. I mean, really impressive by him. Just an insane World Cup final. And I was going to talk about this in Case of the Mondays, but I'll talk about it now. You're seeing a lot of NFL players. Caleb Williams, who I believe was there. George Kittle, who was at the World Cup venue. A number of different players were coming out saying, like, hey, I'm really glad that all these stadium owners managed to, shell out millions of dollars to put in the highest graded sod in the world. And then they're just going to revert back to turf right afterwards. I think it's a little cheap. I think it's a little bad that the fact that they're doing this. And NFL players seem to be a little fed up. I'm going to say this. I've said this before on the show. Turf is cool, right? Especially if you're little old Dan Courtwright, who played at tiny little Santa Fe Trail High School, where all you had was grass fields because that's all you could do, right? Because you didn't have the money to pay, to buy turf. Then I'd go to college. I had played on one turf field all of high school. It was at Prairie View High School. I thought it was the most amazing thing ever. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I can't believe that I'm playing on plastic and rubber. This is actually wild, and it's flat, and there's nothing going on. And then I got to college, and I started playing on turf regularly, and I didn't like it. I like playing on grass. I like the feel of grass. Like really good grass, there's nothing like it, right? It's better. It's better for, your ligaments in your feet, I think. I think it's got a little bit more leeway. It's more predictable, I guess, in terms of, how you're going to land, and you don't get all the turf in your eyes and you don't get turf burn. And NFL players are calling for it, but I think that, NFL owners are just a little too cheap, and they just want to go back to turf because they don't want to pay for the water, they don't want to pay for the groundskeepers, like all this different kind of stuff. So they're just going to go back to turf. It's really unfortunate that that's going to happen, but you're seeing NFL players, like a ton of NFL players, calling for like, hey, soccer players get this. Why don't we? I don't know. It is a little interesting. But hey, congratulations to Spain, by the way. I know that I got a little off on a little side tangent there. Congratulations to Spain. First time that they've won World Cup since 2010. I believe it's their second World Cup in history. Again, kind of glad it was Spain, just because it's cool to see Lamine Yamal. I mean, he was so good the entire World Cup, let alone this game, just the entirety of it. 19 years old. I mean, he has such a illustrious career already that he's had, and he's not even 20 yet. So it's just insane. It is kind of sad to see Messi, go out this way, because Messi only had a couple of touches in this game because Spain just absolutely suffocated them. I mean, they were just playing around with the ball, moving the ball around on the other side of the field, tilted the field exactly the way that you probably wanted to if you're Spain. I mean, it would have been cool to see Messi get another one, but he already has the 2022 one. They won it the last time around. That would have been the first time that anybody's gone back-to-back since, I think it was like 60s with, or it was like 50 into 60-something with Brazil. So that would have been cool to see, but again, probably not going to see Lionel Messi again in the World Cup. So nice to see greatness, at least at the highest level, and get to the World Cup final. But it's time for the new era. Spain, by the way, had 2 teenagers on the field at the same time for a good chunk of this game. So Spain is going to be good for a long, long time ahead. I mean, be on the watch out for them in 2030, wherever the World Cup is going to be. I don't think they've come out with where the World Cup is going to be in 2030, but yeah, I mean, following this World Cup has been incredible. I mean, there's so many amazing storylines, from Erling Haaland, ingratiating himself in the American culture and coming home with a taxidermied raccoon, and you had the Algeria aspect of it, right? I mean, here in our hometown and here in Lawrence, Algeria, all the fans were just so incredible, and they had a really nice player in Riyad Mahrez, who actually announced his retirement from the Algerian national team after Algeria wound up losing in the knockout rounds. But still, it was so much fun to kind of follow this, because again, Sean and I were not like the biggest soccer guys. We'll tune in for the World Cup, and obviously we follow Kansas women's soccer, but we don't know what's going on kind of outside of that world. So being able to not only follow this along, but kind of be at the epicenter of one of the teams who at least made it to the knockout rounds is one of the coolest things that I've ever got to experience, right? I mean, you had the Algerian watch parties. I actually went to a game. I went to the Algeria-Austria game, one of the best sporting events I've ever been to. And the pure adrenaline that runs through your veins when you watch a World Cup goal is unlike anything I've ever experienced before, right? Touchdowns are cool. Buzzer beaters are cool. But seeing a World Cup goal in person was the most amazing thing that I've ever seen at a sporting event. You fire out of your seats, your hands fly up in the air, you're high-fiving everybody. It's everybody from all different corners of the world coming together and enjoying what's happening right in front of your eyes. So it's a really cool thing to see. So, again, it's over. It's unfortunate, but, I guess you can look at it as, hey, World Cup's over. Guess what's coming up next? We got American football, baby. That's right. By the way, I just found this out. The reason American football is called American football is not because of the fact that you use your feet on kickoffs and field goals and different things like that, extra points. It's because of the fact that all the way back, like way early in like the 1800s when it kind of started, it differentiated between sports being played on your feet and sports being played on horseback, where that was like upper class stuff, like polo and different things like that. People would play it on horseback. That's why it's called football, because you played it on your feet. That's why association football, as we know it's called soccer, is also called football. Not because you use your feet to kick the ball, but because it's being played on foot. American football was called rugby football because it was rugby played on your feet as opposed to on horseback. So a little interesting nugget for you. But yeah, I mean, like I said, following this World Cup was just so awesome this entire time. Really, kind of sad that it's over, right? I mean, I'm going to go back to my hole and, not be watching soccer. Maybe I'll get into soccer. I did tell myself a long time ago, my dad got into the English Premier League probably about 10 years ago, whenever Leicester City wound up winning the EPL. And he would get up at like 5 a.m. on Sunday mornings and watch the EPL. I told myself I was a Tottenham Hotspurs fan. Tyler Brewer's shaking his head at me right now. I like the Tottenham Hotspurs because of the fact that it's a fun name. Fun name, number one. Number two, I liked Harry Kane and Young-Min Son. Both those guys were rock stars. So I was a big Tottenham guy. So maybe I'll get into soccer a little bit more after the World Cup, just because it is a fun game. It's a simple game, too, and that's why I think I like it. You know, I think for a lot of sports, we overcomplicate things, and I was still kind of in the mindset of basketball and football and different things like that, where there's more strategy involved, where soccer is just a simple game, right? You're kicking it back and forth, and, you know, you kick a ball into a goal by the guy, and that's it. You score. I think once you start to boil it down to its simplicity, it is a very fun game to watch. It's a ton of fun. So, again, congratulations to Spain. Congratulations to Lamine Yamal, the man who was once bathed by Lionel Messi for winning the World Cup. First one for Spain since 2010. Now everyone's going to go back to their own corners of the world. The FIFA World Cup trophy is going to go back into its trophy case in Switzerland. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a ton of fun and really, really, really cool stuff. Really great for Kansas City to be kind of at the epicenter of it as well. I mean, they had Argentina, they had England, they had the Netherlands, and then Algeria, obviously, here in Lawrence. So that was, I mean, just so much fun to kind of learn from all these different cultures as well. Because, like I said, when I went to that game, I met so many different people from so many different areas of the country, and all of them were saying how great Kansas City was. I ran into a guy from Croatia. Weirdly enough, Croatia wasn't even around Kansas City, but he just said he loves Kansas City so much. He had been to Miami and he went to LA and he came to Kansas City and he stayed in Kansas City for longer because how much better of a host city it was than any of the other big cities. So, shout out to Kansas City for really embracing the fact that the FIFA World Cup was being held here. It was just so much fun. So, again, congratulations to Spain. Hey, after this, going to be hearing from a couple of KU football players and a former Kansas football player, Brandon McAnderson. First, got to tell you about Crown Automotive. Crown Automotive, the place to go if you're in the market for a new or used car. Whole line of new Toyotas and Volkswagens, Tiguans, Tauses, Jettas. They have those VW electric buses, which are just the coolest things in the world. Camrys, Corollas, RAV4s, Tacomas, Tundras, you name it, they've got it. And a whole line of used cars as well if those aren't your jam. The friendliest sales staff in town. They're going to get you in a car at an affordable price too. And that's the case because it's all ran by the 2025 Lawrence Citizen of the Year, Miles Schneer. So check them out, crownautomotive.com or crownmotorsvw.com. Hey, after this, going to be hearing from some KU football players right here on Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Welcome back into Rock Chalk Sports here on ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Daniel Courtwright here. Going to hear from some KU football players. First, got to tell you about Central Bank. With Jayhawk checking from Central Bank, Jayhawk fans can carry their pride wherever they go with the official Jayhawk debit card. It's a simple way to show school spirit every single day. Central Bank is proud to support the traditions and communities that bring people together. As the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, Central Bank is committed to serving Jayhawk fans with banking options designed for real life, on campus, at work, and everywhere in between. You can learn more about Jayhawk Checking and the exclusive Jayhawk debit card at jayhawkchecking.com. That's jayhawkchecking.com. Central Bank, the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, member FDIC. Hey, I was out at the Good Games Meet the Team Tour on Saturday. A lot of fun, a ton of great interviews that I was able to get. I got 13 different interviews with some Jayhawks, so really cool stuff. A great community event. There was a ton of people who came out and got to be able to meet all of their Jayhawk heroes, essentially. We're going to hear from a couple of them. Let's start off here. I got a chance to sit down with KU transfer running back Yasin Willis. So let's hear that right now. What's going on, guys? Daniel Cora here with Kansas Nation. We're at the Good Games Meet the Team Tour event, and right next to me I got Yasin Willis for the University of Kansas. He's a running back this year for Kansas. Yasin, thanks so much for joining me. Thanks so much for taking some time out of it. I know this is a lot of fun. Great event going on here, man.
Yeah, for sure. You got the kids out here getting the activities going. It's amazing. I like to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to talk to you just about this upcoming season, man. I know you're a transfer, obviously coming in. Just how are you settling into Lawrence so far? I mean, what's your favorite thing about Lawrence so far?
I settled in pretty well. Been here for about 7 months going on now. Lawrence is amazing. Great food. Great pizza, great Italian food.
Yeah.
I didn't even hit up a couple. Couple hibachi places.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they got some good food out here, man.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite pizza place?
It's the one on Mass Street.
Minsky's maybe, or Papakino's?
Papakino's.
There you go.
Yeah, Papakino's.
There you go.
The one right there.
That's
yeah.
good stuff. It's
Yeah,
better than New York pizza, huh? All right. We won't go that far, man. Hey, just talk about your excitement level for this year and the running back room that you guys have. I mean, talk about depth, right? I mean, you guys, it's you, Dylan Edwards, Little Thunder and Lightning there. Also, Corey Mockery, young kid who's really, really good as well. And I mean, you talk about Justin Thurman. You go down the list. There's some dogs in that room.
Yeah, we definitely got some dogs in the room. That's the most exciting part about it that I say. We competing every single day, holding each other to a standard. Just to make sure that when we sharpening the iron, before the war even start, you know what I'm saying? So we always ready. And the depth part, it's a lot of depth. We got guys in the room that really can do everything. We complement each other well on a lot of stuff. So, whenever there's a time that any of us need to break inside the game, we come out, make another one go in, it looked like nobody even made a change for us. So, I feel like the room is really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, big story for us as Kansas fans. I mean, you're obviously new, but us watching it, Andy Kotelnicki, he's back. I mean, talk about playing in that offense.
Hey,
how fun is that, man?
It's crazy, man. It's really exciting. It's a lot of tricks that we're gonna pull out the bag, man. that these guys got to be ready for. But it's amazing. He did his thing at Penn State, watching them play. I had a former teammate that I was at Syracuse with, Trevor Pena. He did very well in that offense. So I got to talk to him a little bit about it, and I'm pretty excited for this season, man. We got a lot of playmakers on the team that's going to be put in positions for us to be successful this year. So I'm excited.
Well, we're excited to watch it, man. Yasin, thanks so much for joining me. I'll let you get back to it, man. But we're here at the Good Games Meet the Team Tour event here at the indoor facility for KU football. We got more coming up after this. That was my interview with Yasin Willis over at the Good Games Meet the Team Tour event. Really great interview with Yasin, and again, really excited to see what he can do on the football field for this upcoming year. The Thunder to the Lightning, that is Dylan Edwards, kind of that 1-2 punch you're going to see in the running back room. Talk to him a little bit about kind of the depth in that running back room as well. And he's really excited to get into the Andy Kotelnicki style of offense and, have some fun, tricky stuff going on. Excuse me, I had a burp there. Going on there at the in the Kansas offense. So that's going to be a ton of fun to see what Yasin Willis is able to do. Again, big bruising back. I put out a video of him during spring ball. Said that he was going to be a problem. Kind of gained some. Went a little viral on TikTok. So that was fun to see. But yeah, I mean, you look at Yasin Willis, you go, man, they don't make him like that anymore, right? He's just a massive, massive dude. Going to be a problem between the tackles. Hey, also got a chance to catch up with KU transfer wide receiver Nik McMillan. He was a top 25 guy in terms of yards, total yards in the nation last year at Buffalo. Had a chance to talk to him about that Buffalo connection. As we know, Lance Leipold came over to Kansas from Buffalo. So a little interesting there. Said that they actually recruited him his sophomore year. And so it'll be interesting to kind of see that. But yeah, let's go ahead and hear my interview with Nik McMillan. Hey guys, what's going on? Daniel Courtwright here with Kansas Nation. We're at the Good Games Meet the Team Tour event at the KU indoor practice facility, and right now I got a great volunteer, Nik McMillan, transfer wide receiver from Buffalo. I saw you over there slinging the rock, man. I mean, I know you're a wide receiver. Do you have any future at quarterback going on?
I won't say future, but I mean trick play. They can come holler at me, though.
All right, fair enough. Well, don't give too much away now. I wanted to talk to you about, obviously, the transition coming over from Buffalo to Kansas. And as you know, I mean, Lance Leipold, he did amazing stuff over there at Buffalo. I mean, was that a little bit of a connection there, I guess, in terms of, the recruitment process?
Yeah, they recruited me a little bit my sophomore year in high school. They actually offered me first at Buffalo. So I talked to them a little bit and then ended up leaving like a couple months after that. So when I got in the portal, it was one of the first schools to hit me up. And it was kind of like an instant connection with them just because of, the Buffalo connection and me already knowing who they are and talked to them a couple of times before they came up here. So it kind of just made the process easier for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it certainly makes sense. Wanted to talk to you about joining this squad, obviously, because new guy to you, old guy to us, Andy Kotelnicki is back at the offensive coordinator spot.
Yeah.
You talked to me about, learning that style of offense because as a fan, a lot of fun to watch. Got to be a lot of fun to play in it as well.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said before, it's kind of like an NFL type of offense. He like to move guys around and get his guys the ball. So, I'm excited to see what he's going to do this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Wanted to talk to you just obviously about this upcoming season and seeing David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium under construction right now. We know it. But, I mean, how cool has it been to see all the resources being put in to the University of Kansas, and they're really putting an emphasis on football and putting a lot of money into you guys?
Yeah, it just shows how much that the program has turned around in the past couple of years since Lipo and them got here. I'm excited to see just where we're going to go in the future, though, after this season and the seasons to come.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to ask you about the London game, man. The Union Jack Classic going on week 3, I believe, against Arizona State. You ever been out of the States before, and how excited are you to play at Wembley?
I went to the Bahamas for our bowl game. It was 2 years ago, 2024.
Okay.
Other than that, though, I ain't been out of the States.
Okay.
So it'll be new for me, but I'm excited for sure. I'm excited.
Should be a ton of fun. Question for you. What can Jayhawk fans expect to see from Nik McMillan this year on the football field?
A lot of big plays, a lot of explosive plays. Just an energy guy, not scared to get dirty. It's gonna be fun watching this year for sure.
Yeah.
Just stay tuned.
Absolutely. Want to ask you about the wide receiver room as well. Obviously, you, Najee Cox, coming in, but you also have some guys, Keaton Quebec, Tate Nagy. I mean, talk to me about the wide receiver room, how dangerous that group could be.
Yeah, me, Nas, we just came in and added to the pieces that was already here. Cam Pickett, he does a great job leading us, in practice games. He's going to be somebody that we count on a lot. Keaton, we all just came in and I feel like we all just gelled together. Like, we are each other's brothers. We all want, what's best for each other. So it's going to be exciting just seeing how we play in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to ask you, man, you transferred over from Buffalo. You've been here for a few months now. I'm sure you've had a chance to kind of branch out, try some new restaurants. What's your go-to spot here in Lawrence?
Slim Chickens.
Slim Chicken? You're the second guy who said Slim Chicken so far.
Yeah, Slim Chickens is good.
Okay.
Jefferson's is all right, too.
Okay,
Their wings, they all right.
Absolutely.
What else I can say? Canes, Buffalo.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, Canes is. I mean, that's a.
So I mean, Canes.
So
is
Slim
all right.
Chickens too. Slim Chickens is a big brand.
Yeah.
Jefferson's is at least a little local, so that's good.
I think what else? Oh, Dempsey's.
Dempsey's. Hey, that's a good pull. I love Dempsey's.
Dempsey's,
Love me
bacon
some
cheeseburgers.
Dempsey's.
Yeah.
Well, hey man, really appreciate it. Really excited to watch you this upcoming season.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
The fun conversation there with KU transfer wide receiver Nik McMillan. Again, just going to be one of those guys who we didn't see last year, obviously transferring over from Buffalo, but you look at the stats from last year, 981 yards. That's 24th in the nation last year, also 50th in the nation in terms of receptions, 15.8 yards per reception as well. So Nik McMillan is primed to have a great season here at Kansas. Really excited stuff. Burner on the outside, going to be probably that number one guy that you're going to be looking at, depending on who the quarterback is and how they're able to get him the ball. But it seems to me like it'd be pretty easy to get Nik McMillan the ball, and he's really excited to be here at Kansas. Hey, also got a chance to catch up with one of my personal heroes from back in the day, former Orange Bowl champion Brandon McAnderson. I got a chance to talk to him a little bit about sticking around the KU program for a while, and also a little bit of a preview for this upcoming season. So let's hear my conversation with BMAC right now. Hey, what's going on, guys? Daniel Courtwright here with Kansas Nation alongside my colleague, Brandon McAnderson, former Orange Bowl champion Brandon McAnderson. Man, thanks for showing up. We're here at the Good Games Meet the Team Tour right now. BMAC wanted to get into some KU football stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, you do pregame for KU football, also sideline for KU football as well. I know you're following the team quite a bit, but I wanted to talk to you. I said this is a personal thing for me because I grew up watching you, man.
Yeah.
Just how cool is it to still be around Lawrence in a place where you grew up, essentially, still around the program quite a bit, and seeing the rise of this KU football program. I mean, something like this. I mean, we can see David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium right now. Is this something that you would ever imagine, even back when you were playing?
Couldn't have imagined it at all. It was kind of the pipe dream that football success would have to get there for us to meet this point, and that was true. And we did our little bit to push it forward, and each generation continues to push it forward, and that's kind of the the coolest part for me is just to come back and feel like a family member, like not feel like a visitor, just being able to, come here and watch practice and, cover the team the way that I do. It just feels really good to see the success, to experience it, to, as a fan, to have different off-season challenges, different off-season feelings, like what's going to happen here, and I've had those as a player, but it's been fun to think about expectations, and it's going to be super fun this season as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this season obviously going to be a big one. No more JD, but you got Cole Ballard, Isaiah Marshall, and a dynamic duo in the running back room. Give us a little bit of a preview of what you think, really needs to be honed in on for this year to make it successful.
Man, what I've noticed every year watching spring football, watching fall football, this is a good football team. There are plenty of good football players in this program. We know the coaches and their abilities and the schemes that they can scheme up. I think it's become about, as a fan, this is like maybe not the most glamorous part of the process, but as like a football lover, this is my favorite part of these guys got to play football better.
Right.
Collectively, the coaching, the execution, that's fun. Because we've gotten to the point where we know what our talent level is. We know we're going to be competitive. We know we're going to be physically competitive. Now it's like, what's next for this football team? Can they execute? Are they ready for the big moments? What's the personality, right? Because we've had JD for so long, and JD's personality was all over the program. What happens when that goes? That's a void. That's an opportunity. I'm excited to see who fills it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, KU, they take on Long Island September 4th. Be sure to get your tickets, kuathletics.com/tickets. We're here at the Good Game event, Meet the Team Tour. B-Mac, you got a kid out here, so I'll let you go back to it, but thanks so much for making some time.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Hey, we got more coming up after this. RockChalkSports, and ESPN Kansas City. That was my conversation with Brandon McAnderson, 2008 Orange Bowl champion. Brandon McAnderson. I know I outroed it there, but I'm outroing it right now. A lot of fun. Also, the sideline reporter for the KU Sports Network from Learfield. So yeah, really exciting stuff coming up for this KU football season. We're going to talk a little KU football with my next guest coming up after this. It's Nicholas J. Springer from the KC Sports Network and the Pay Heed podcast. Appreciate his time as always. That's coming up right after this on Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, and KansasNation.com. Welcome back into Rock Chalk Sports here on ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Very shortly, we'll bring on a very special guest. It's Nicholas Springer. Nicholas Lee Springer. That's his actual middle name is Lee. Sounds like an adverb, Nicholas Lee Springer.
I wish you wouldn't just put me on.
Put
my government name out there.
I'm feeling Nicholas Lee Springer today.
I just wish you wouldn't put my government name out there.
Why?
I don't know. I guess if anybody wanted it, they could get it.
Well, everyone knows you by Nicholas J. Springer, so that's your alias. That's because
it's hardly an alias. It's one letter. It's one letter of my middle name. How's that an alias?
We've pushed this agenda, by the way. It just sounds right. Nicholas J. Springer. That sounds like that sounds like a former senator.
I'll call my dad and you can talk to him about it.
It's a good name.
I don't know what to tell you.
Like you said, you sound like a former senator.
I mean, I'll be a senator.
It just rolls off the tongue.
I can't be any worse than who we got now.
Nicholas L. Springer just doesn't sound great. Anyway, I want to tell you about Jocelyn's Jewelry. Jocelyn's Jewelry, locally owned for over 40 years. Gary Jocelyn and the entire Jocelyn family, they're proud to have earned the trust of 3 generations of customers. They believe Jocelyn's customers come back again and again and refer their families and friends because they treat customers with the respect and integrity that they deserve while offering the best in fine jewelry at a fair price. They have been the jeweler that you'll recommend to your friends and family. That's their reputation. They're the jewelry store that you'll want to go to because they're going to be honest and treat you fair. You would not believe how many times a customer says that they were quoted for $400 to fix a ring, and they come into Jocelyn's, $200 to fix the exact same ring. You need a chain or other items fixed. They can often do that while you wait. You walk in, say, hey, I need this chain fixed. Guess what? They'll do it. You can just sit there in a nice, comfortable chair. That's what Jocelyn's is all about. You need something done timely, done right, in a business that you can trust. Jocelyn's Jewelry. It's at 95th and Antioch. It's right in front of the big Hy-Vee, right in front of that big grocery store. You cannot miss them. Jocelyn's Jewelry, the jeweler that you'll recommend to your friends and family because you can trust Jocelyn's. Jewelry is a hard word for me to say.
Jewelry?
Jewelry.
Jewelry?
How does DJ Khaled say it? Jurley?
I don't know.
He said, I remember I saw a video of him saying Jurley one time. So nice. Yeah. Shout out to DJ Khaled.
You would know a lot about rings because you got married recently.
I do.
So.
I'm wearing a silicone right now.
Oh,
I think I told you that. I talked about this with you. The gold one that I have is not actually real gold. It's tungsten. It's too heavy, and I'm probably just never going to wear it again unless it's like a special event.
What do you mean it's too heavy?
It's too heavy. I don't like it. It makes my hand feel too heavy.
Okay, if you just wear it, you'll get used to it, and then it's fine.
Yeah, but I don't want to go through the process of getting used to it.
It'll take like a couple days.
I understand.
At max.
Sure. But
I mean, I bought a new watch once,
not,
and it was way heavier than my old watch, and I was like flailing my arm around, and then I got used to it, and then it was fine.
So I'm not going to be able. I don't want to go through the process of getting used to it. The getting used to things is not.
That is shocking.
It's not my forte.
I'm shocked.
I'm not crazy about it. Anyway, Nicholas J. Springer.
How does Mrs. Courtwright feel about that?
She also wears her silicone one too.
Okay, so I guess it's fine.
Yeah, it's a little mutual thing where we're like, yeah, we understand.
Yeah.
I'm not a big jewelry guy. Jewelry guy. Anyway, Nick Springer from KCSN Pay Heat Podcast. Thanks for joining the show, man. Really appreciate it. Oh, yeah. Wanted to start off here because in your latest episode of the Pay Heat Podcast, you talked a little bit about this, and this is one of the most interesting stories that I've heard in a while. It's Mihailo Musikic. So Jayhawk Slant, as well as some other places, I know like Fog.net, Michael Swain dropped it that Mihailo Musikic had committed to the University of Kansas. But we talked to me and Sean talked to our colleague Henry Greenstein. Henry said that his source said that nothing has been done yet. So I don't know what all is going on here, but it is interesting to note the fact that Kansas is still going out there trying to get a big man. He is going to be eligible in terms of the years, but maybe not in terms of how much money or how long he's played professionally overseas. So there's still some hoops to kind of jump through at this point. But your thoughts on Kansas potentially going after another big man?
Let me tell you something. I specifically learned Serbian in the past 10 days.
Really?
Just so that I could go to Serbia and find out what the heck is going on.
Sure.
So I spoke to my Serbian sources.
Give us a little taste. Give us a little taste of your Serbian right now.
I have stage fright. I can't do it. Sorry. It's one of those things. You understand.
Sure. Yeah.
You can't do it in front of a crowd.
No, you're not going to give it away for free either.
But I spoke to my Serbian sources. And they didn't know either. So Well, honestly, I took the time to learn Serbian, but I didn't take the time to understand it.
Sure. So you asked in Serbian, and then
they responded in Serbian, and I didn't know what they said. So I don't know. So your guess is as good as mine.
Dang.
Yeah, I took the time to learn Serbian. To learn to speak it. I didn't take time to learn how to understand.
Understandable. So it's a giant waste of time.
No, I flew all the way to Serbia.
You bought the ticket and everything.
Yeah, it was great. I could read all the signs, but I asked for directions. I couldn't understand anybody.
That's unfortunate, man.
Yeah, it was.
Did you hit any tourist spots while you were over there either?
I went to Belgrade.
Good.
Yeah, I think it's Belgrade. I think that's like the only city in Serbia I know.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Okay.
It was fun. It was a
Fair
fun
enough.
experience.
So your Serbian sources tell you that they don't know either.
Well, I couldn't understand them.
Oh, right. Of course. Right. You have no idea. No, that makes sense.
So they maybe did know. I just didn't know what they said. In all seriousness, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at KU's roster as it's presently constructed and recognize that the big man spot is a weakness. So I think it's prudent that KU would try to exhaust all resources, leave no stone unturned in seeking out to improve that position. They have the opening on the roster. They have 13 roster spots. If Musikic were to come to Kansas, that'd make it 14. So they have the roster availability. It's just a matter of can they find a potential player that made sense. Obviously, I think I'm sure you guys talked about it on the show, but Malik Ewan, the former Arkansas guy, was somebody that was rumored to have interest in Kansas a while back. That seems like it's probably not going to happen at this point, I would say. And so that's why your next pivot would be to look internationally. And sure enough, there's Mihailo Musikic, who is, by the way, he would, if he were to join Kansas, he would turn 25 years old when Kansas plays in the NCAA tournament in March.
Okay.
So he's currently 24. He'll be 25 in March playing college basketball. I don't know how I feel about that, but it is what it is.
Well, and obviously, I understand that. So players this year can't, they're going to be the ones who are grandfathered in with the old rules, technically, right?
That's the other issue, obviously, is the NCAA and what they think of this. Because Musikic has played, I think, over 150 professional games for quite some time in Serbia. And they have it's the ABA, which is actually the league that Nikola Jokic came from, I believe. Ah. And then they have the KSL, or I think it's the KLS. It's either KSL or KLS. I can't remember off the top of my head.
One of the two.
And that's the Serbian league. That's like the specific domestic Serbian league that Musikic has played in. I've watched a little bit of YouTube highlights on him. It's really hard to gauge exactly, how he would fit into D1 college basketball. There's not exactly a one-to-one translation of if you play in the KLS, that's the equivalent of playing in,
the MAC or whatever.
It's unclear. But just from watching him individually, I thought he was pretty mobile, moved pretty well. He actually can shoot the three. He's not a shooter, but he can shoot. I think he's a career just under 30% 3-point shooter.
It's not terrible for a 7-footer.
Right,
yeah.
which is not nothing.
You're not bringing him in to be a 3-point shooter.
Right, yeah. It's not nothing, but yeah, ultimately, I think adding any guy at the 5 spot, whether it's Musicic, whether it's somebody else that comes along, whatever it may be, makes sense for Kansas.
Yeah.
Because you look at what they have right now. You have Paul Mbia, my GOAT, okay, number one player of all time. You have Paul Mbia, but then after
the
that,
president of his fan club.
Right, yeah. And then after that, you have Christian Reeves, but as we know, Christian Reeves is coming off of an injury. He had surgery earlier in the spring. It's unclear when exactly he'll be able to return to full college basketball activities and how effective he'll be when he comes back right away. And then you have Davion Atkins, who's more of a 4 kind of a little bit as well. That is a true freshman coming in. So, yes, adding a body at that position would make sense. And if it's Musicic, I think it's fine because best case, he's a guy that maybe ends up competing for extra minutes. Worst case, he's a warm body on the end of your bench that you break in case of emergency. Right?
Sure.
That's kind of where we're at with an addition like this for KU. So we'll see what happens. Again, my Serbian sources, I couldn't understand them, so I don't know.
No idea.
So I don't know how they're feeling. But yeah, again, like I said, it doesn't take a genius to look at KU's roster and recognize that that's a spot. And so I think it makes sense that KU would be trying to leave no stone unturned in terms of potentially adding to the roster at that position. The financial side of things obviously is a factor as well. How much potential NIL does KU have available to spend at this point in the offseason? Could that be a factor? Maybe could that have been a factor in the Malik Ewan stuff?
Yeah.
Maybe, who knows? And then with Musicic, we'll see how things play out. But I would not be surprised if KU continues to look to add, to this roster. I mean, why wouldn't you, right? At this day and age, it is literally and metaphorically an arms race every single day up until, the ball goes up in the first game of the season.
Yeah.
So why not try to, as best you can, to improve your team up to that point?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, yeah, like you said, you look at the big man room right now, essentially you have one healthy guy, and that's Paul Mbia. Now, granted, Keanu Dawes did play the 5 at Utah, but that was because he had to.
Well,
right?
and I think it's definitely reasonable that KU could get a little creative in their lineups, right?
Play a little small ball, maybe.
Stokes, you could easily put at the 4, I think. And then you could roll out with Stokes, and then Dennis Parker Jr. could be your 3, and then you have Blyden and Kinney, with Dawes out there. There's options for KU to play smaller that, if necessary, you could do that for a limited amount of time. I don't think you want to do that for a long time, but
right. I agree. And I mean, I don't know.
If for whatever reason they don't add Musicic or anybody else to the roster, that's probably the route you'd have to go, I guess.
Sure. Absolutely. And they're obviously looking for somebody, right? I mean, they wouldn't be putting in the time and resources into trying to get a Serbian guy if they, A, didn't think it was possible, and B, didn't think they needed it, right? So, it is interesting. But again, you have the Keanu Dawes, which to me is kind of a break in case of emergency if you need a backup big man and play a little small ball and get some of the other wings out there.
You know what? Screw it. Put Tyron Stokes at the 5.
Yeah. Why not? He can do it. I think he can do it. I think that'd be fine. Wanted to talk to you about another interesting story that came out. So this is from Michael Swain, Fog.net. As we know, Javon Bardwell has committed to play at Kansas for next year, but there's some rumors going around about him trying to potentially reclass and come into this year's roster. I know that there's some different things going on right now, kind of on the interior. We don't exactly know, but there are some rumblings about him trying to get onto this roster. Javon Bardwell, that's really interesting to me. Obviously would be a immediate impact guy right away, but at the same time plays kind of a similar spot as Tyron Stokes, right? I mean, they're both those wings, right? Like kind of bigger wings, if you will. I guess, what are your thoughts on that and how he would kind of slide in? Because Kansas, I mean, you talk about the lack of depth in terms of their big men. They don't have a lack of depth at the wing spot, right? So that means essentially less playing time for guys like Cole Rosario, Dennis Parker Jr., Leroy Blyden, right? Probably going to be splitting a little bit of time, but also you don't want to put all of your eggs in the, strictly freshman wing or strictly freshman backcourt basket as well. I mean, your thoughts on Javarn Bardwell and if that's even a possibility for him to join Kansas this summer?
Yeah, a couple things to note with that. Number one, like I mentioned, so KU has 13 players on its roster. So they have 2 slots. They have two spots available. So it could be Musevich and Bardwell. The other interesting thing with Bardwell is I believe he either is already 19 or will be turning 19 very shortly.
Yes.
Which, if you recall, with the new NCAA rule that they have put in place, the way it works is your 5-year clock starts either when you enroll in your first semester of college as a freshman, or when you turn 19.
Right.
So you could be looking at a situation where for Bardwell, if he were to not reclass and join Kansas next year, he would actually basically be eliminating a potential year of eligibility that he could have.
Right.
If, depending on how things go. So that's one thing to note is that, KU could be looking at it and saying, hey, man, maybe we don't necessarily need you this year, or, your role might not be significant this year for us because, like you mentioned, with a lot of the depth that KU already has kind of at that position. But, also, we want you in the program because you're going to be losing a year of eligibility regardless because of the new NCAA rules. And so, why not spend it at with D1 weight room, D-run conditioning, coaching, all that stuff, right? So it could make sense. He also, Bardwell recently competed in Italy, I think, at the Adidas. I think it was the Adidas games. Played pretty well there. So he's definitely a good player. I think he's currently a top 15 ranked player in the 2027 class. The age thing is interesting to me in terms of eligibility. And then for him joining the team this year, it would give you sort of probably an extra boost at that wing spot and give you a little bit more firepower to work with there, because I do think he's a pretty dynamic player. The one thing that I think he struggles with a little bit is 3-point shooting. He's not the best shooter in the world. Yeah. But, if you pair him out there with Cole Rosario, who we think should take a step forward 3-point shooting wise this year, or Leroy Blyden, who was a 40+% 3-point shooter last year for Toledo. There's opportunities for him there. So, it's an interesting conversation. And again, I think it just kind of piggybacks off of what you were just mentioning a few minutes ago with the Musevich conversation, which is, again, if you're KU, why wouldn't you look into all possibilities of improving your roster prior to this season? If you have the opportunity, if you have the roster availability, which KU does, and if you have a guy like someone like Bardwell, who, again, based off of his age, it may make sense for him to potentially be on this roster for KU, even if he's not necessarily going to make a huge impact this season. So I kind of read this more as just similarly to the conversation we just had about Musevich, which is KU doing its due diligence, KU recognizing that, hey, in this day and age of college basketball, if you're not working 24/7, 365 on ways to improve your roster, especially during the offseason, then you're going to be falling behind. Yeah. And so this is another situation where for KU, it's honestly, it should be a pretty easy conversation to have. The guy's already committed to play for you, so it just comes down to, hey, does he want to come meet? Does he want to come now? What would his role look like? Is there NIL consideration to be involved in that? And ultimately, those conversations can continue. So we'll see. Again, it's a possibility. I don't know if it necessarily takes KU from a top 20 team to a top 5 team with a player like Bardwell, but give them some extra depth. And again, we're talking about a team with KU that what has bitten KU seemingly time and time again over the last 3-4 years?
Guard play in the NCAA tournament.
Or just depth.
Depth in general. Yeah.
Guys getting hurt. Guys wearing down. When you think about, the 2023 season, 2024 season, Kevin McCullough, Bill Self. that 2023 season, every chance Bill Self got, he would say, well, we got the best starting 5 in the country. Yeah. Well, that's great until, you lose Kevin McCullough, you have no depth, and,
who else you got? Right.
And same thing has happened with the past couple seasons with KU too, where they've gone to a very short rotation. I think that 2024 season, a lot of that had to do with that team just getting wore down, right? Just getting absolutely beat up and not having enough depth. So you could be looking at more depth opportunities if you bring in a guy like Bardwell. So I'll be curious to see what happens with that. And again, nothing seems finalized until the ball goes up in 2026, later this fall. So curious to see what KU does in between now and then. Yeah,
100%. Nick Springer, KCSN, Pay Heat Podcast, joins the show. One more basketball thing for you. Summer League is officially over. We've talked Summer League with you, over the course of all of this, and a couple of Kansas guys on the Summer League squad. You have Melvin Council for the Pelicans. Trey White did a really good stuff with the Miami Heat. I guess now that it's all said and done, do you think that the Zeke Mayos and the KJ Adams and the Melvin Councils and the Trey Whites of the world did enough to potentially get some roster spots?
I think Trey White maybe did.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. You know, actually, who I think did? This little known guy, actually, Darren Peterson. I think he probably did enough.
Who?
Yeah. I think he probably did enough to get a roster spot.
Yeah, I think so.
Zeke Mayo is going to be playing on the TBT team, right?
Yes.
Okay,
so Zeke Mayo will
you know,
actually be playing tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's probably back in town right now. But
Yeah.
points per minute, he was good. I mean, you would see a lot. You'd be like, oh, he played 14 minutes and had 11 points. Like, that's pretty dang good.
Well, and again, if you're playing the TBT, that's sort of your last opportunity, I guess, to showcase a little bit of what you can do. So, yeah, I don't know. I think Trey White probably, if Trey White can, I think we talked about this before, but if Trey White can consistently be 37% plus from three, he absolutely will have a role on an NBA team as a 3-and-D guy, as a guy that, because we know he's a strong defender, right? And if he's able to consistently shoot, again, 36, 37% plus from three, there's some team that will say, yeah, we'll take that. Come off our bench, play 10 minutes a game, shoot, 2 or 3 threes, and play good defense, and you have a spot. So if he proves that, then I think he'll have a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and, in terms of Trey White, the Miami Heat don't have a lot of guards right now because they gave everybody away for Giannis Antetokounmpo. They have a good front court, but
I don't know who's on the team. By the way, the decision part 2 shouldn't that be happening soon?
I know. Where do you think LeBron's going?
I have no idea.
I asked your co-host Shreyas about that. He said Philly. So
Shreyas said Philly?
Maybe.
I honestly don't know. Really,
I don't know either. He said he's leaving Clues, and just not too long ago he said, I want to go to a team that trusts the process. So.
Oh, he said that?
Yes.
Oh, see, I don't really care.
I don't know if that was like a little like nugget, or he was just saying that, or whatever.
I don't really care enough to pay that close of attention.
Fair.
Because like 2 weeks ago he was supposed to go to Golden State, right? And then that's not happening, or I don't know.
Maybe it is. I guess there was some guy who saw Steve Kerr on the road and his window was down, and he was like, "Go get LeBron," and Steve Kerr said, "We got him." So I don't know. Nobody knows anything. I don't even know if Steve Kerr knows. Maybe he was just giving that guy something. I don't know. Yeah. Whatever. We'll see. Wanted to talk a little football with you, Nick. I know a couple of episodes ago on your Pay Heat podcast, you kind of broke down the KU offensive line room. I got a chance to talk to Nick Morrow and Connor Stroh and Calvin Clements. But if you look at the offensive line, a couple of different angles you can go about this, I guess.
Right.
You losing Enrique Cruz, who was obviously a big-time player for you, and then also Bryce Foster. You're losing him as well. You are bringing back Amir Herring. You're bringing back Tavake Tuikulevatu, right? Calvin Clements is coming back. Also got some really nice transfers in, too. Kason Carpenter, Nick Morrow, Connor Stroh, like a bunch of these guys. Do you think that the offensive line is going to take a step up from last year? Not that they were bad last year, but do you think they're going to be able to take a step up? And then also, how do you think that the offensive line is going to handle being in a new Andy Kotelnicki style of offense when none of these guys, except for Calvin, I think played in like a couple of games under Kotelnicki, but other than that, nobody else really knows, what to expect, at least on game days. I guess your thoughts on the offensive line group as a whole, because you're going to have, you don't know who your quarterback's going to be, but you're going to have a little thunder and lightning back there with Dylan Edwards and Yasin Willis. You're going to have some nice guys on the outside. I mean, just maybe the biggest question marks right now are the offensive line.
Yeah, it's hard for me to envision the offensive line being better in 2026 than it was in 2025. Okay. Bryce Foster was, we talked to him many times. Guy was an absolute unit. I mean, his neck was as big.
They don't make him like that anymore.
His neck is as big around as my arm. Like, this guy's crazy. And Enrique Cruz obviously turned into an NFL draft pick at tackle.
Right.
And something that people may need to be reminded of is that Enrique Cruz was a spring transfer portal guy. He came in after the spring, and then became that quality of player for KU, which obviously that's no longer a thing. They got rid of the spring portal, so no option, no more of that. But Enrique Cruz was that last year. And when you look at what KU has brought in to hypothetically replace those losses, I have a hard time thinking that their offensive line is going to be better than it was in 2025. That doesn't mean that I don't think it can be as good, right? Like, if Calvin Clements can be more consistent and play at a higher level, that's a positive.
Right.
I think Amir Herring has potential to be a really, really quality starter for you as well. Kobe Baines, I think, was sort of one of the unsung heroes of the offensive line for a long time for KU. Just kind of a stalwart, steady guy. But I think Amir Herring can step into that role. Kason Carpenter's probably going to be your starting center, the transfer from Oklahoma State. You've got Tavake as well.
That was the one-on-one trade for Tyler Mercer.
Right. Yeah. You've got Tavake as well, who's probably going to be at your other guard spot. And then the biggest question mark is going to be that other tackle position. Nik Morrow has played in a lot of games as a young player at Cal this past season. You have a guy like Connor Stroh, who's a big-bodied dude. But I have a hard time envisioning the offensive line being better just physically than I think what they were last year. But as you kind of mentioned, they're going into this Andy Kolicki scheme that should probably help them a little bit.
Right.
And the one thing about offensive linemen is those guys, they love the run block. You get to fire off the ball, you get to go hit somebody, you get to run downhill. This KU offense, I think, is going to be leaning pretty heavily on the run game in 2026. When you look at Yasin Willis, Dylan Edwards is not a high volume back, but obviously he's very explosive. He can keep defenses off balance with the ball in his hands. Jalen Dupree is a guy that nobody's talking about because he spent the entire spring hurt.
That's right.
The transfer from Colorado State, but he averaged over 5 yards a carry last year at Colorado State.
He's good. Also highly rated in EA College Football 27.
Right. So, what kind of role can he have? We'll see. Again, we didn't get to see him at all in the spring. He was hurt the entirety of the spring. But the point being is that the offensive line, I think, is going to have let me see if I can phrase this right. They're going to have a lot of pressure on the offensive line to relieve the pressure on the quarterback.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the offensive line is going to be put under, I think, a lot of pressure to establish themselves in the run game and to that way mitigate the pressure that they're going to be facing on the quarterback, whether it's Cole Ballard or Isaiah Marshall, whoever it may be. Because obviously, you've had Jalen Daniels back there for, the last 2 seasons, and before that you had Jason Bean, but you're going to have a guy back there that's different. And so that's where I look at the run game as being so critical for KU this season. And can this offensive line, come together and perform at a high level? And by the way, Dale Paulsa is maybe one of the best offensive line coaches in the Big 12.
That's right.
And so that's a big bonus as well. I think the combination of him plus Andy Kolicki, I think, will be huge for this offensive line to hopefully, gel together early in the season for them to find success. But, yeah, I think there is going to be a lot of pressure on them to be successful, especially in the run game, because that's going to help out your quarterback spot. So we'll see how things play out. Again, I think you assume your starting 5 is Calvin Clements, Tavake, Kason Carpenter, Amir Herring, and then Nik Morrow at this point.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see how things play out in camp and if we can get any extra information on it, seeing them out in camp once we get into August and before the season. So that'll be
some
watch,
rotation too, so you'll see some of the other guys as well.
Oh, yeah. But I just mean guys that stand out.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's going to be critical for those guys to be successful early. And the one thing about it is, if it's game 5, 6, 7, and it's looking, and you still feel like the offensive line is, not on the same page communication wise, or if there's issues there, that's when I would be, hitting the alarm bells a little bit of like, oh crap, this is not good.
Do you think is it probably bad for the offensive line to not know who the quarterback is right now? Because you're probably blocking a little bit differently if Isaiah Marshall's more prone to scrambling as opposed to Cole Ballard more likely to step up.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, in the run game, it's the same.
Oh yeah, sure, right.
And I think if you're there like Paulsa, you teach the same way in pass protection. Like it would be more incumbent on, like Zabrowski and Kolicki to coach the quarterbacks of however they want them to operate.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't think it would make that much big of a difference, but it is, noteworthy, to say the least, that, hey, if you got a guy, I mean, I can only assume that if you're playing offensive line for the Baltimore Ravens or for the Kansas City Chiefs, that night with Mahomes, it's a lot different than playing offensive line for like Aaron Rodgers or something, or somebody who's going to stay in the pocket.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And Cole Ballard and Isaiah Marshall aren't that different of style of quarterback. So it'll be interesting. Nick Springer, KCSN Pay Heat Podcast. Nick, what you got going on? Anything big coming up?
Yeah, we got some shows coming out this week on the feed. So be on the lookout on that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on YouTube at Kansas Jocks KCSN. We got some prediction shows. We recorded one earlier today that's going to be out doing some predictions for how KU can be better in 2026. We still have some more position breakdowns we got to get to. We're going to be doing the defense before we get to August. And then once we get into August, it'll be preseason content. So expect multiple shows breaking down KU's opponents in 2026 individually and our predictions for how we think the 2026 season will go before we get to kickoff in September.
Perfect. Well, it's going to be here before we know it. Like I said,
That's true. We got we're less than 6 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Or no? Yeah.
Well, I mean, in terms of fall camp, we got like two weeks.
They kick off on what? September 4th?
Yes.
So I'm bad at math. Okay, no, we have less than 7 weeks. It'll be 6 weeks.
Less than
this
7
Friday.
weeks. Well, there's going to be football before we know it as well, because August 6th. Right?
What's August 6th?
Hall of Fame game.
Oh, I don't care.
Everyone always forget. What is with this Hall of Fame game erasure?
It sucks.
It should be a national holiday.
No, it's
the start of football season.
Nah.
You guys are such haters.
No,
I like watching third.
I don't recognize.
Me and Tyler are like the only ones who
I don't
like
recognize. No.
I'm gonna after the Hall of Fame game that Friday. I'm gonna do a whole 2-hour show just breaking it down.
I love that for you.
Yeah,
Do it.
I'm gonna do it.
It's a free country. You can do it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right.
I'm not going to stop you.
Nik Springer, KCSN Pay Heat Podcast. Really appreciate your time, man. As always.
Oh, thank you, Dan.
All right.
Thank
we got more coming up.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, more coming up after this on Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, and KansasNation.com. Welcome back into Rock Chalk Sports here on ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Daniel Courtwright here. Big shout out to Nicholas Lee Springer for coming on to the show. Really appreciate him. As always, every single Monday. Speaking of Mondays, it's time for the Case of the Mondays segment here on Rock Chalk Sports. First, got to tell you about Custom Lawn and Landscape. Spring and summer, they are made for backyard fun. If you're like Sean, you got kids running through the grass, or if you're like me, you have dogs running through the grass, who I also call my kids. Family cookouts past sunset, whatever it is you do in the backyard, nothing ruins time outside faster than fleas, ticks, and chiggers. And that's why families can trust Custom Lawn and Landscape to help keep their lawns beautiful and protected all season long. Our home insect control program helps defend your yard from those pesky bugs so your pets and loved ones can enjoy the outdoors more comfortably and safely. Right now, when you sign up for the season, your first application is 100% free. That's right, 100% free for your first application. It's a simple way to take back your backyard this spring and summer. You can visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your first free application with a seasonal insect control program. That's Custom Lawn and Landscape, helping you love your lawn without the bugs. CustomLawn.com. This is actually true. I'm actually planning on building a fire pit in my backyard, and I got a lot of fleas and ticks and chiggers back there that are preventing me from doing that. My wife has a garden back there, and our dogs love running back all around there. We do have flea and tick medication for them, but we'll find some dead ones on them every once in a while. So I need to call Custom Lawn, or at least go to CustomLawn.com to get my first free application. Time for Case of the Mondays. It's a Case of the Mondays for me, because starting today, this is going to be the biggest hindrance in my life. The road that I live on, not the road that I live on, but the road that I get to my house at, is now under construction, and it is turned into a one-way. It's going on. We got something in our mail from the city of Lawrence that said, hey, we are actually blocking off this road. I'm not going to tell you where, because I don't want you to know where I live. We're blocking off this road from July 20th till November 20th. I live on a dead-end road. There's one way to get to my house, and it is on this road. It is going to be potentially the worst time of my life from now until November 20th. I don't know why they didn't start this in, April, May, when the students aren't in town, right? It would have worked better for me. I feel bad for those poor construction workers that are going to be out there in November freezing their butts off. But now, today, I pull out of my dead end, I go up, and on this road, it is a one-way only. So I live on the east side of Iowa Street, right next to Iowa Street. I always say Crown Automotive, my neck of the woods. I live kind of around there. I can't turn left to go onto Iowa Street anymore. Instead, I have to go all the way east on this road go up like Alabama Street and then backtrack my way if I want to get on Iowa Street. I hate it so much. They're also starting construction on Iowa Street again. They're going to be doing construction on 6th Street again. I hate it so much. It is the bane of my existence, and it's day one. It's the first day. Like I said, it's a one-way. I can't take the same route that I go back home. I have to go all the way down 23rd Street, go down Iowa, and then backtrack all the way back to my road. It's so stupid, and I hate it so much. The road was fine. It was fine the way it was. There was barely any potholes. It was asphalt and concrete, and everything was perfectly fine. And now they're ruining it, and they're ruining my life by taking away the one road that I'm able to get to my house to. Oh, man. But I always say, my life could be worse because I could be working that construction job. So instead, I'm just here complaining about college athletics, which is fine. You know, in retrospect, it's probably not that big of a deal. But it is very annoying, and they haven't even started yet. They just put the cones up, and they're like, hey, it's a one-way. And now there's going to be like a guy with a stop and slow sign now, which is going to be awesome. It's going all the way from Iowa Street to Louisiana Street. That's the only road that I'm able to take to get to work. I don't know. Like, I'm going to be, oh my gosh. It takes me like 7 to 10 minutes, depending on how many stoplights I hit to get to work. It's now going to take me potentially 15 minutes to get to work. That 5 extra minutes, that's time I'm not going to be able to get back. Can you believe this? Anyway, I wanted to get that off my chest because today is day one, and it already sucks. Now I have to go through, what is it, July? So we're going August, September, October, November. 4 more months of me just hating my life and never wanting to get in my car to go anywhere. Whatever. Hey, it's Case of the Mondays for Javier Milei. I don't know if you're aware of who this is. Javier Milei is the president, I guess, leader of Argentina. He's an economist. He's a guy with the craziest sideburns you'll ever see in your life. The leader of Argentina as of right now. As you know, Argentina played against Spain in the World Cup final. Javier Milei didn't go to the World Cup final because of superstitions. He actually wanted to stay in Argentina and wear his lucky suit because he wears that for every game and watches it in the same spot, probably at his house every single game. Meanwhile, the leader of Spain actually did wind up going to the World Cup final. Javier Milei, leader of Argentina, put out this tweet after Argentina played Spain in the World Cup final. It says, "World celebration. Given the concern about the celebrations for the achievement reached by the Argentine national team, I inform the population that, depending on what the players and technical staff decide regarding the day to celebrate, will be declared a national holiday." They lost. He had this tweet scheduled. Very clear that he had this tweet scheduled because he thought that Argentina was going to win. They wind up losing. And the first tweet that he has after Argentina loses 1-0 in the World Cup final is world celebration. Today is now a national holiday. The tweet's still up. It's still up. This man has not gone back and deleted the tweet. I kind of respect that, by the way, for him just being like, you know what, I screwed up. Let the world see it. You know what I mean? This thing has 27 million views on Twitter, 162,000 likes. Very unfortunate. By the way, I didn't think you were going to be, I thought that you weren't able to schedule tweets anymore. There's no celebration going on in Argentina right now. Maybe they'll come back and, meet them at the airport, say, hey, good job getting there, right? The streets of Argentina are fine. They're safe. But they didn't win. Shout out to Javier Milei for keeping this up, though. Like I said, I respect that. When you mess up this badly, you know what's worse? Going back and seeing, hey, tweet deleted or whatever. He's taking it on the chin, wearing it on the chin, saying, you know what? I screwed up, guys. Whoopsie daisy. Maybe he just doesn't know how social media works. Maybe he's a bit of a Luddite, right? But, yeah, I informed the population that depending on what the players and technical staff decide regarding the day to celebrate, it will be declared a national holiday. Maybe they're celebrating the fact that they just got to the World Cup. But they already won it in 2022. They won the last one. Is today, now here's my question, is today still going to be deemed a national holiday for Argentina? Because he did say that today, which today was yesterday, July 19th, that it was a national holiday. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. But again, shout out to him for keeping it up. Hey, Case of Mondays for guys who don't shoot their shot. This is actually one of the coolest stories that I've seen in quite a while. So this is, again, on Twitter. Man named Douglas Sandstorm, tweeted this out. He said, not proud of it, but man enough to say it. I had breakfast this morning in Greenwich Village, New York City, and a man sat next to me on his own. Somebody I idolized growing up watching the NFL. But out of respect, parentheses, like a scared little girl, I didn't even ask for a picture. Not proud of it, man enough to say it. Have a great day in New York at J.J. Watt. So J.J. Watt goes into Greenwich Village for breakfast this morning, sits next to Douglas Sandstorm, and Douglas Sandstorm didn't say a thing. And granted, I've done this too, right, where I've gone into different places and I've seen a person that I absolutely idolized, absolutely admired, and I didn't do anything because out of respect for them, right? Because sometimes that gets a little weird, especially as a media member. You're not supposed to do that stuff, right? But you know, there have been times where like I've walked into a restaurant and like there was one time I saw Jason Bean eating at the burger stand. I didn't do anything. I wanted to go up and be like, hey man, shout out to you. Like, thanks for everything. But I didn't. And Douglas Sandstorm goes on Twitter, says, hey, not proud of it, but he said, hey, I sat next to J.J. Watt. I didn't do anything. Well, J.J. Watt found out about this. He saw the tweet, and he tweeted back at him and said, are you still in the area? Doug said, yes, sir. He said, where about? He said, I'm hiding from the rain with a beer at O'Hara's. J.J. Watt said, order me a Guinness. I'll be there shortly. J.J. Watt then proceeds to go and meet up with Douglas Sandstorm. It's such a cool thing. J.J. Watt, by the way, shout out to him. He, just one of the cooler dudes. He was a little bit corny, there for a little bit, at least while he was still playing. But he's turned into one of the more likable guys in the world. And Douglas Sandstorm took a picture of him. We don't have the picture, but took a picture with J.J. Watt. They're both holding a Guinness. He said, ladies and gentlemen, the GOAT. What a legend, bro. Thanks so much for your time. I'll tell my kids about this story one day. And then J.J. Watt actually tweeted a picture of him and Doug as well. Said, safe travels back home, brother. Great to meet you. So shout out to J.J. Watt for taking some time out of his probably busy day. I would imagine he was in New York City to go to the World Cup final, but wound up meeting up with this Doug guy. Shout out to that, man. I mean, like that's one of those cool stories. I mean, granted, like I said, we've all been there. I'm sure that every one of you has gone into a restaurant and seen, a relatively famous person and just kind of been like, all right, I'm going to back off a little bit. When I was a kid, I would have immediately ran up to him, right? If I saw Mario Chalmers and I was 10 years old, I would have ran up to him, asked for an autograph, all this different kind of stuff. Now that I'm a little bit older, I'll see these people from time to time, especially living in Lawrence, seeing some people that I idolized from my past, it still is again, in the media, you get to see Bill Self a lot, right? I see Bill Self constantly 3 times a week during basketball season. And I still get a little, blown aback every once in a while. Seeing him in person, I'm like, ooh, man. But I'm never weird about it, right? And obviously I'm in the media, so I can't be like, oh, hey, Bill, can I get a picture or whatever? It's a little strange, a little touchy, right? So you want to give them their space. So shout out to J.J. Watt for being like, you know what? This guy respected me enough to not say anything. He's probably having a nice, quiet morning in New York City, getting breakfast in Greenwich Village or whatever. But J.J. Watt was like, you know what? I'm going to go back and have a beer with this guy. So shout out to him for shooting a shot, not initially, but after the fact on Twitter. Hey, it's Case of Mondays for Zlatan enjoyers because Zlatan Ibrahimovic, as you know, was an analyst for the World Cup over this past FIFA World Cup. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, at the end of the World Cup, after Spain defeated Argentina 1-0, Zlatan said, "You made it easy for me," talking to the other people. He said, "I hope, America, you enjoyed it as much as I did. And this is also my farewell to the studio." So Zlatan, well, one and done. Said, "Hey, you know what? Yeah, fine. I'll go. I'll help out with World Cup coverage." And he was great, by the way. I like Zlatan. He was obviously like a dirty player back in the day and did some questionable things. And then, became sort of this larger-than-life personality kind of guy. Then Fox, obviously he's no longer playing soccer, so Fox brings in Zlatan as a pregame, postgame analyst kind of guy. And Zlatan's saying, "You know what? Probably not for me. Just going to ride off into the sunset." Good for him. But if you enjoyed watching it, if you enjoyed watching Zlatan, yeah, it looks like you're no longer going to be it. So Rebecca Lowe, after he said, "This is my farewell to the studio," she said, It is? He said, "This is my first and last time for me, so take care, everybody." Shout out to Zlatan, man. He did a great job. He's so Zlatan. That's the only way I can really describe it. Like, he's just, like, if you know Zlatan, if you've seen like different, I don't know, interviews, press conferences, whatever with him, like, he's a very strange individual, very much like I'm Zlatan, blah, 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 and now he's no longer going to be a guy. So shout out. You're still probably going to get Alexi Lawless and, Tierney, whatever his name is. Still probably going to get those guys, but no more Zlatan. So shout out to him. Last one here. Case of the Mondays for Bryson DeChambeau. Bryson was playing in the Open of this past weekend. Did not win. Actually, got in a touch of trouble. So apparently he shanks one over to some tall grass, goes over, finds his ball, and there's a very clear video of him like stomping down grass so he can get a better lie on his ball. We have the video, and I'll show it to you. It's actually from a different guy who posted it, but Bryson clearly goes over to his ball, walks behind the ball, stomps down the grass to give himself a better lie. PGA says, whoa, hey, hold on there a second, buddy. You cannot do that. So here's a video of Bryson stomping down the grass. You can see for yourself.
This is when he finds his ball, and then I'll show you the other video to watch, and that's the grass that he's stomping down there.
So, is the microphone on? Okay, cool. I was like, it's obviously very, very clear that, like, he was definitely stomping that down to get himself a better lie. Again, I'm not the what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not the best in terms of following the rules with golf. You know what I mean? But if you're playing in the PGA, especially in a major like this, the U.S. Open, or not the U.S. Open, the British Open, like, you obviously can't do that. There's cameras everywhere. They're watching you do this. And so a lot of the other players saw this as well. And Rory McIlroy actually chimed off on this. And I have this post-match thing with Rory. I wanted to show it to you because he says some interesting stuff here. So let's hear what Rory has to say about Bryson DeChambeau.
So I was watching it live. I was up in the players' lounge watching it with a few other players, and as soon as he made the step into the ball, we all sort of looked at each other and were like, that didn't seem right. And then when I heard that he was called in by the rules officials, I think it was pretty obvious for why. And yeah, I think there's no doubt that he improved the line of his backswing. So, and again, it's like, whether it was careless or whether it was intentional, I don't think it matters. Hopefully it was careless. But I think the two-shot penalty was justified for sure.
What did you think of the scenes after? Obviously, you guys were delayed getting your tee times as well because of it all going on.
Late night for everyone. I won't pretend to be up here and defend Bryson. I'm not particularly fond of him. I think a lot of it's performative. I think a lot of it's for attention. And to hold the tournament hostage like that and have all of us, volunteers, players, everyone waiting on him to depart. I didn't feel like it was a great look.
Do you think he knew what he was doing?
Look, he's going to say, like, again, I'm not in his mind, I'm not in his, but it didn't look good.
Roy, is something like that, you think that happens out here more than we know, and it just isn't viewed or seen? Or?
Yeah, it's hard, right? Like he's every shot is on camera. There's a lot of guys that play this week and the shots aren't on camera, so you can say that that's unfair or whatever, or it might happen more than it does, but it's obviously impossible to police everyone, and that's why it is a, for the most part, a self-policing game. But I think when there is obvious evidence like there was last night, then obviously that's a different story.
So, I mean, it was abundantly clear that Rory does not like Bryson DeChambeau. I mean, he straight up said that, right? And he said, I won't pretend to be up here and defend Bryson. I'm not particularly fond of him. I think a lot of it's performative. I think a lot of it is for attention. I've been on this from the beginning. I did not like Bryson DeChambeau. He has the YouTube videos, and he does a lot of the stuff. But again, I'm with him. I think a lot of it is for attention, where he makes such a big deal about his 3D printed golf clubs. And, oh, look at me. I'm big and strong, Mr. Bryson DeChambeau. My 5-iron, I can hit it 215 yards or whatever. It's like, okay, sure, whatever. I get it. It is incredibly performative. I agree with Rory there. And Rory, to me, like, he's gotten more unlikable, but Rory hit the nail on the head, man. Like, he's like, of course Bryson is going to go out and complain, and Bryson wound up getting a 2-stroke penalty for this. Bryson came out on Twitter and said, I think that's egregious. I don't agree with the call. And then according to Golf Week, apparently, reportedly, he tried to have Donald Trump come in and fight on his behalf to not have the 2-stroke penalty against him. This is according to Polymarket, but it's also according to Golf Week, which I'll trust this. So I guess Trump and Bryson DeChambeau are boys, and they have a close relationship or whatever. And Bryson tried to call in the president to be like, please tell the PGA to take away my 2-stroke penalty. Are you kidding me? Like, dude, take it on the chin. You were caught in 4K, buddy. You were caught with HD cameras. You did everything except for use a weed whacker on this thing. I don't know. It's unbelievable. I don't like Bryson. I never have, and I never will. I know the tides go back and forth on Bryson, right? Because him and Brooks Koepka had their weird thing back in the day, where they had some beef, but then they were all of a sudden cool, and then everybody started like, oh, Bryson's actually not a bad guy. He's fun. He makes these fun YouTube videos or whatever. No, the guy's a loser. He's a weirdo. He's a tool. No, Bryson, he's the worst. Again, trying to clearly cheating, caught with multiple camera angles, clearly cheating, clearly stomping down the grass, trying to give himself a better lie, going out on Twitter saying, I don't agree with it. I'm going to call Donald J. Trump to try to get him to talk to the PGA to give it back to me. Dude, you're a massive loser. What an absolute joke. I've never been this public about it, but I've never been a fan of Bryson DeChambeau. I think he's an absolute joke. So anyway, that'll do it for Case of the Mondays, I guess. But shout out to Rory McIlroy for calling out Bryson and saying, like, yeah, I don't like him. I don't like the guy. Whatever. I'm a Rory fan. I always have been. I always like Rory. Hey, after this, going to be hearing from some more KU football players. Got a chance to talk to Nick Morrow, Corey Gordon, and then our own Kansas Nation's own intern, Tyler Brewer. Got a chance to talk to Calvin Clements as well. So we're going to hear from that after this on Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, and KansasNation.com. Welcome back into Rock Chalk Sports here on ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Hey, I want to tell you about Heinen Outdoor Power Equipment. If you're in the market for a new side-by-side, any kind of large power equipment, Heinen Outdoor Power Equipment is the best place to go. They're outdoor enthusiasts. They want you to experience fun and adventure that quality lawn and garden and outdoor power equipment can bring into your life. Outdoor Power Equipment dealership serving Lawrence area, offering the best in new and pre-owned Ferris Hustler and Country Clipper lawnmowers, Mahindra tractors and implements, Arctic Cat ATVs and UTVs, Steel handhelds, and Billy Goat specialty turf products. Check them out. Heinen Outdoor Power Equipment. That's Heinen OPE. Heinen OPE. HEINEN OPE.com if you're in that market. Hey, got a chance to talk to a number of different KU football players over this past weekend at the Good Games Meet the Team Tour at the KU Indoor Facility, a great event. And our very own Tyler Brewer got a chance to talk to Calvin Clements, starting left tackle for the University of Kansas. Let's hear that right now.
It's Tyler Brewer here with Kansas Nation. I'm here with Calvin Clements at the Good Game Meet the Team Tour. I just want to ask you, first of all, you grew up in Lawrence, went to Free State High School. What's it like playing for your childhood team?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a great privilege, honestly, in the first place. I grew up coming to these games, coming to this stadium. So obviously being able to be a part of it, it's just such a blessing. And it gives me a little extra pride in it too. You know, I grew up around this place, so, you know, I play extra. I do a little extra for this place because, you know, I've been around it my whole life, so yeah.
Yeah, and you talked about the stadium. Obviously, I think a couple years ago, seeing what it is now would just be like unfathomable. Tell me about your excitement with just seeing the whole renovation and everything they've been doing.
No, yeah, it's pretty sweet. I've actually had the opportunity to be here like through it all. In my freshman year, we were in the old booth, and then I was through when we played at Arrowhead, through all the construction. So it's been pretty crazy to see. But like the final product, you can see it coming together. It's amazing. Like, it's pretty sweet. I never really imagined it being like this.
Yeah, and tell me about your excitement level for this season. What can we expect out of this team?
Yeah, no, definitely high expectations. I think we got a dangerous team. I think the more I see this team come together, I think we can go a long ways together. I'm really excited.
Awesome. And then you're a Lawrence guy. We've been asking everyone today their favorite spots around Lawrence. From the Lawrence guy himself, what are the best spots to go to?
So if I'm going downtown, like for a nice dinner, I like Merchants or like 715. But just like going to grab some food, like I love Johnny's Tavern, like old reliable Johnny's Tavern. I got a few things on the menu I'll get. Old reliable Johnny's Tavern.
Awesome. Have you been kind of tasked then with getting some of these new guys to the program accustomed to Lawrence?
A little bit. I always try to tell the new guys when they come in, like I'm from here, so if you need barber, place to fix your car, like I try to get them right. But yeah, I do my best.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.
That was Tyler Brewer's conversation with Calvin Clements, a local legend, obviously from Free State High School, now the starting left tackle and really the leader of the offensive line room. Calvin Clements, really excited to see what he can do and the way that he can impact the game this upcoming year. Also got a chance to talk to another offensive lineman, actually transfer over from Cal. I should have asked him about it, but he did say that he was able to play a little bit with Fernando Mendoza. So asked him about that afterwards, but not on camera. But really interesting guy. Nik Morrow, he was out there at the Good Games Meet the Team Tour event, playing a little quarterback with some of the kids. I got to ask him about that as well. So here's my conversation with KU offensive line transfer Nik Morrow. Hey, what's going on, guys? Daniel Courtwright here with Kansas Nation. We're at the Good Games Meet the Team Tour right now inside the indoor facility here at the University of Kansas. An incredible event going on right now, and I'm right here next to offensive line transfer from Cal Berkeley, Nik Morrow. Nick, I saw you throwing some balls over there, man. Do you have a future in quarterback ahead of you?
Not a future, but back in high school, played a little bit of quarterback for my first few years. So
fair enough.
Kind of brought it back to me today.
Sure. Hey, I like it, man. Well, you got a heck of an arm over there, and talk to me a little bit about joining this KU football program, just kind of the process of essentially picking Kansas, coming over from Cal.
Yeah, I mean, from when I kind of knew I was going to enter the portal, and when I did that, just being in contact with Kansas and the coaching staff here, just. They made it clear that they wanted me to come here, and once I visited, it just felt like home, and I knew that this was the place to be for sure.
For sure, absolutely. I wanted to ask you about the hair, man, because the picture in there, you don't have the blonde hair.
Yeah.
And today I looked across the field and I said, "Who is that?" And I got a little closer. I was like, "Oh, that's Nik Morrow." What was the thought process behind that? Just because, or?
Yeah, I've done it a few times before, and I was just kind of bored with what I had going on, so decided to change it up.
Hey, fair enough. I like it, man. Yeah. I like it. Talk to me a little bit about this offensive line room. Obviously, you got Calvin over there. Calvin's been, anchoring this KU offensive line for quite a while, but a number of different transfers coming in over as well. Case and Carpenter, a lot of young guys too. Tell me about a little bit about this offensive line room.
I'm just excited, and I'm grateful to be a part of it. It's one of the closer rooms I've been a part of in my time in college. So just being there, and everybody's really just brothers, and we bond so well. I'm excited for what we got going on and what we can show everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And talk to me a little bit about the offensive coordinator, Andy Kotelnicki. Obviously he's new to you, but not new to Kansas. He was here back in 2020 to 2023, left for Penn State. Now he's back at Kansas. Talk to me a little bit about playing in that offensive system.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. It's a great system. A lot going on, but they do such a good job just going through it with us and detailing it and making sure we're kind of knowing what we got to do and where we have to be, and then just the energy that he brings as well to just meetings and stuff like that is unmatched.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to ask you, man, obviously you're here in Lawrence. You've been here for, probably 6 or 7 months so far. What's your go-to restaurant, the best place that you've discovered so far?
Ooh, that is tough. I would say depends. If I'm going for like I'm either Q39 or Johnny's Tavern.
Yeah, you're the first one to say Q39. That was a little bit surprising. A lot of people say Johnny's too.
Yeah,
so.
No. If we're going out like as a group, hanging out somewhere, that's definitely a place to go.
What's the biggest difference between Lawrence compared to Cal Berkeley?
There's a lot. It's a lot different. Definitely a smaller town feel here. The weather is hot and also cold in the winter. Kind of in Cal, you're just 75 the whole time, pretty sunny, pretty nice.
Yeah.
But it feels more like a community here, just in the town and just around everything.
Yeah.
Everybody supports Kansas, and you can feel that.
Yeah, absolutely. What can Jayhawk fans expect to see out of Nik Morrow on the football field this year?
Just a lot of energy and doing whatever I can to help the team win.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks, Nik Morrow. I appreciate it. We're here at the Good Games Meet the Team Tour event. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. That was my conversation with Nik Morrow, transfer offensive tackle from the University of California, Berkeley, Cal Berkeley, I guess, if you will. I was actually having trouble figuring out who he was because he dyed his hair blonde. All the pictures I had seen of him, he has like brown hair, and I was like looking across the field. And I was like, who the heck is that guy? But Nik Morrow, obviously, switching it up a little bit, so that was a lot of fun. Really excited to see what he can do for this Kansas football team as well. Hey, another transfer. I got the chance to talk to Corey Gordon by way of Baylor, and then Louisville. Got a chance to sit down with him. A great conversation with Corey Gordon. Really enigmatic guy, right? Just a great personality. Really, really great guy to talk to. So here's my conversation with KU safety transfer Corey Gordon. Hey, what's going on, guys? Daniel Courtwright here with Kansas Nation. We're here at the Good Games Meet the Team Tour event. A ton of fun. Ages 1st grade to 8th grade coming out and meeting some Jayhawk heroes of theirs, and I'm sitting by one of them right now. I had a nice conversation with him. Corey Gordon, transfer safety here for the University of Kansas, transfers over from Louisville. Corey, thanks so much for taking some time out of your day. I know you're over there signing autographs and different things like that. Just wanted to talk to you. Tell me about this event and what's going on right now.
Honestly, we just out here having some fun with some of these young guys, like he said, 1st through 8th grade. A really good turnout, some really nice kids, really good athletes, and honestly, I remember being one of these young kids, so we just want to pour as much as we can back into the youth. So right now we just had a camp. Like he said, a few of us players stepped out to help the Good Game host this camp. And a really great turnout. Like he said, man, it's such a great time. So many great people here. So I just want to say thank you to you for having me and the Good Game in general and put me in this situation in general.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great community event. We'll always love these kinds of things here in Lawrence. Speaking of that, you're new to Lawrence. how are you settling in so far? Is there any guys who you've just absolutely hit it off with? And just how you like Lawrence so far?
I would say yes to both of those questions. It took me some adjusting to get used to Lawrence's weather and everything like that because I was so far out there in Louisville.
Sure.
But I've hit it off with Bam Crouch. Me and him have came really close. We came in at the same time and instantly hit it off. Same with guys like Yasin Willis, and then a guy like Jay Ty, who just was a guy who was already here and kind of welcomed us with open arms.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've settled in really great, got adjusted to things, and honestly just come around to love Lawrence and how much of a great culture it is, and just I feel like everyone is so connected here. So I definitely love Lawrence.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love it too. That's why I live here. That's why I do this job, man. It's a great town. I want to talk to you about the defense coming into this year. I mean, just how excited are you? I mean, you're playing under DK McDonald. He is the defensive coordinator, but he started as the D-backs coach. I mean, he has a real, he's kind of pinpointed the D-backs as kind of his specialty. I mean, what's it like playing for him and then this safety room in general?
I would say DK, man, that's my guy. I love Coach DK, and he just pours so much into us. Like you said, he has so much experience from the NFL level with the Eagles, of course, and just as a coordinator in general. And having him, like you said, the D coordinator in my room, it helps so much because I feel like I'm so far ahead. Not saying it like that because everybody gets the calls and things, but just hearing it straight from the D coordinator's mouth, hearing straight what he wants done makes it a lot easier on me as a safety because you don't have to go, ask your coach, or you can go straight to the, what I'm saying? You straight to the head man, and he's going to tell you exactly how he wants it done. But DK just honestly pours so much into us and gives us so much tips and things to learn from. I feel like we're going to have a really great year in the back end, and he plays definitely a big part in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Corey, got to ask you about Lawrence. I've asked everybody so far, but, I mean, you're new here, so you're probably trying a little bit of everything. What's your go-to spot for food in Lawrence right now?
That one's tough. I got a few. That's the only reason why it's tough. But, honestly, late night, I don't know if you tried Fat Shack. I like Fat Shack. Late night.
That's right by the Kansas Nation Studios. That place, yeah.
Hey, let me put y'all on. Late night, that's the spot. Or, obviously, Jefferson's, that's one of my go-to spots. I can't not say Jefferson's. I feel like while I'm out here, but I'll say those are my top two. And then I would say fast food wise, if you call it fast food, I like Hawaiian Bros.
Oh, yeah.
I like Hawaiian Bros.
You're barking up the right tree, man, for sure. Hey, just give us kind of a preview of what we can expect out of Corey Gordon this year on the football field.
Man, one thing I'm going to give the fans is that energy. Every game, you guys can expect me to be flying around like my head is on fire, bringing guys along with me. I just ask y'all to come along with us on this journey, man, because this is that year. I'm telling you guys now, you guys are going to see me and my fellas are going to do it.
Absolutely. Corey Gordon, thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it. I'll let you get back to it.
Appreciate you, man.
That was my conversation with KU safety transfer Corey Gordon by way of Louisville. Before that, by way of Baylor. Really awesome guy. I mean, I loved talking to him. I talked to him for probably 5 minutes before the interview, a little bit afterwards as well. I also, when I dapped him up at the end, my pinky popped out of place, so kind of freaked him out a little bit, I think, which is unfortunate. But no, absolutely great guy. Really excited to see what he can do, and obviously adding some depth to that safety room, which Kansas so desperately needed, right? And you could probably move him around a little bit too, so we'll see, kind of where he's able to slot in as well. Got a lot of great coverage from the Good Games Meet the Team tour last Saturday, so really, really exciting stuff to be looking forward to for this KU football program. Hey, after this, going to be breaking down the Indianapolis Colts, Week 2. The Chiefs take on the Colts. That's going to be continuing our Chiefs opponent outlook. After this on Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Welcome back into Rock Chalk Sports here on ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Hey, got to tell you about Ameritrust Credit Union. You know the feeling. The fieldhouse gets loud. The chants start slow. And the Jayhawks bring the energy. That's Lawrence. And Ameritrust Credit Union thinks your money deserves that same feeling. A team that's in your corner that's pulling for you, win or lose season after season. Financial well-being isn't just something that they offer. It's why they exist. First car, first home, first business, whatever's next in your money story, they're right around the corner at 6th and Wakarusa here in West Lawrence. Real people making real decisions locally. Ameritrust Credit Union, the official financial well-being partner of the University of Kansas. Stop by their branch or visit Ameritrust.org. It's federally insured by the NCUA. Got a little bit of time here, so going to talk a little Indianapolis Colts. Chiefs take on the Indianapolis Colts Week 2 this NFL season. It's going to be a home game, which is going to be very important, I think, for this Chiefs team. That's going to be September 20th. Actually, it's 7:20 p.m., so going to be one of those primetime games. Really excited about this one. But the Indianapolis Colts, interesting stuff there. They returning a lot of guys, right? Daniel Jones, he's going to be back. Look what he did last year, 3,100 yards in 13 games. But then, injury bugs certainly plagued the Indianapolis Colts, so much so that, they had to, bring back some interesting guys. From last year, you saw Phillip Rivers get in some games last year, which is just crazy to see. Riley Leonard also. But you have Daniel Jones, who's going to be back. Indiana Jones, if you will. 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions last year. I think he's had a nice little career resurgence, Daniel Jones has, over in Indianapolis, and should be a lot of fun to watch this upcoming year. Not against the Chiefs. They're also bringing back, obviously, Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in the entire NFL. He had 18 touchdowns last year, 1,585 rushing yards. Jonathan Taylor, again, just one of the best running backs that you'll see, right? And they really don't have a whole lot of other depth either. DJ Giddens, obviously by way of Kansas State, was their second leading rusher in terms of the running back room. He had 26 carries for 96 yards, right? So Jonathan Taylor really is that number one guy, and they have a really good offensive line as well. Obviously, Quentin Nelson is just an absolute dog. Also, a couple of really nice receivers, I guess skill position players. Alec Pierce, highest paid free agent wide receiver signing ever in NFL history. Alec Pierce, 1,000 yards, just over 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns last year. Also, Tyler Warren's going to be interesting to see for this coming year, coming into year 2. 76 receptions for 817 yards. 4 touchdowns for Tyler Warren. Obviously did amazing stuff over at Penn State. Really nice rookie campaign from last year. And also Michael Pittman Jr. and Josh Downs, 2 really nice wide receivers as well, 784 and 566 yards respectively for them. Adonai Mitchell, interested to know how his next step is going to go for him. A.D. Mitchell is really nice over at Texas. On the defensive side, Zaire Franklin was really their number one guy. Other than that, not a lot of great guys on their defense. They have Leatu Latu, who was, a really nice defensive end. But at the same time, right, the defense wasn't great last year. If you look at the defensive rankings, they gave up 349 yards per game last year. Not a tremendous defensive outing by the Indianapolis Colts last year. So I think if the Chiefs are able to, put their foot on the gas early in this game, especially because it's a home game, especially because you're getting them week 2, they're not going to know really they're not going to know what their identity is. And neither are the Chiefs, right? But the Chiefs could potentially have Patrick Mahomes back, right? We don't know if Patrick Mahomes is going to be playing, whether it be week 1, week 2, all the way into week 6, whatever that may be. Obviously, we know that the knee is getting a lot better. So it'll be interesting to note. But Chiefs got to win that one. It's going to be a big-time matchup over at Arrowhead. Hey, that's going to do it here for Rock Chalk Sports on ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Thanks so much for listening on ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Tomorrow, packed show for you again, and I'm going to be out there covering the basketball tournament. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, KansasNation.com.